Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is different from my usual content, but it's something that I really like and love to discuss, so I thought why not talk about it on this channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the latest videos of Love is Blind season 5, which are episodes 8 and 9. So let's get into it. I want to first start off by saying that I'm judging these people based on their edits, okay? So we all know that producers take such a high role in how they're editing everything. They can make people the true villains, or they can make people seem really, really nice. However, my opinion is that regardless if they try to give them the villain edit or the nice people edit, like, they still said what they said. The words still came out of their mouth. Obviously not on all scenes. You can sometimes hear just voiceovers, but okay, let's get started. I have the iPad notes, okay? Look at all of these notes here. We're gonna start with episode 8. So episode 8 starts by Uche telling Milton about how he regrets not telling him the truth about Lydia, and he wants Milton to be careful. I get where Uche is coming from. It makes sense. In his mind, he's like, Lydia is crazy. She came to stalk me. I would probably have the exact same reaction as Uche, but the fact that Milton was just like, okay, got it, thanks. Like, he was so, not that he was uninterested, but I really think he's just so good at controlling his emotions, which is something that I need to learn to do. Because did you guys catch at the end where he goes, all right, well, Uche goes, don't let this affect our friendship. And Milton goes, all right, I'll catch you on the group chat. It's like, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about you, Uche. Stop, please. Don't. Move on. In that same scene, pretty much, we see the way Lydia talks to Milton when she gets up and grabs him to get him away from Uche. I was so triggered when she just grabs him, picks him up, and at that point she's like, Milton is telling her, give me 5 minutes, I'll be done in a bit. And Lydia is holding him and she's like, Milton. To me, it reminded me of a mom getting mad at their toddler. You know, when they're not doing something right and you're like, Milton, stop it. You know, that was the vibe that I got from her. And I feel like that's the vibe that they give me throughout their entire relationship. She's gonna always be the one that's mothering him, telling him what to do, bossing him around. She said it herself, or her family said it them, she is a very bossy woman. Which, don't get me wrong, I feel like I am too, but I've tried to lean away from those characteristics, okay? My favorite part of this episode was when Uche sits down and is telling everybody in the cast at the barbecue, Lydia followed me. She came here to get back with me, and she ruined the experience for Aaliyah, and she was talking, and then Johnny is like, and Stacy is so triggered, and she's like, is your face okay? I felt like that was so unnecessary of Stacy, because she was reacting to Uche saying something shocking. I would have been in the same boat. I would have been like, what do you mean, you know? Going back to Uche, because I said this is my favorite part. He was so annoyed that they were starting to have a little argument and not listening to him. He's like, wait, no. Anyways, Lydia, and they start going amongst themselves, and he is so pay attention to me. And I thought that was hilarious, because I'm like, Uche, I get you, but shut up. Nobody cares about you. I do think it's really weird that Uche was only interested about Stacy's perspective, but not Miriam's. And I want to know why. Is it because he thought that she was sketchy because of the whole pod thing, where she was like, oh, well, I live here, but I live here. Oh, I've already moved here. Oh, and I have a company, but it does this. And just she was being very sly with her answers. I don't know if something else happened between them and they just didn't show it, because he didn't care about her. He did not care about her. And she was so mad. At one point he tells her you're bitter, and she's like, I am not bitter. And she just starts going off. And I'm like, same girl. I would have that reaction too. But you are giving way too much effort to Uche. Like, Uche is not worth anybody's time. And I'm sorry, like, I don't think I've talked to anybody that likes Uche this season. Like, he's not it. When Uche walks away and like Lydia finally comes back and Johnny's kind of like, oh, like he just said that you knew he was coming to the pods. And Lydia's face is just like, no shock, no anger, no, like, it was just like she was listening to something that was a fact. And she's like, no, why would he say that? Like, And let's be honest, Lydia, like, I get her in the fact that, like, she says that Uche cheated on her, right? What happens? Obviously, who is not gonna go and look at the stories of the girl that they cheated with, or she's trying to figure out who it was, right? Everybody's gonna do that. Everybody. The problem is she just completely denies it and said that BS story last episodes where she's like, Uche, I don't know how the algorithm works. I don't know how Insta's algorithm works. Like, just say you were snooping. Just say it. Like, why are you so scared to admit that? I have ex-friends who would do that all the time and would stalk ex-girls of like their mans or whatever, but they were smart about it. They would use like an alternative profile. Lydia, babe, why are you using your same profile? Please. Stacy, let's get into Stacy. Stacy claims to be, oh, I'm above the drama. I don't care about drama. Why were you going so hard at Johnny then? Like, for what? And I think the reason, and again, I could be wrong, but I think the reason why she's going so hard for Johnny is because she knows that Izzy had a connection with her. There was something there, and in Stacy's mind, like, she just gives off that personality of like, and just the way she talks to people really leads me to believe that she's one of those white women who thinks they're above everybody. They're above everybody else. They're better. Like, oh, why would he ever be into Johnny? And at one point they show like a recording where she's like, Johnny is boring and she's a joke. Like, you're obviously triggered by her, babe. She swears she's above everything. She's above the drama. So why were you going so hard at Johnny for when you have Izzy? She has Chris. Like, you guys have your own relationships at this point. Why are you guys still dragging it out? If you didn't care about the drama, you would move on, but you didn't do that. You sat there and you tried to bully Johnny, which Johnny I'm very iffy on about too, but still, don't say you're above the drama and then go in and start railing on her like Izzy says. When Izzy said, oh, when you were railing on her, I was so turned on. I was like, what? How are you turned on by this? Like, this is... I really wanted to like Izzy, but he just does so many weird things that I also find sketch. Going back to what I'm saying, when Stacy tells Izzy, why do you care when he's talking about Johnny? It's like she has that in her head too. Obviously, he cares for a reason. He cares because he's invested. That's the same reason why she can't let it go, why she couldn't just like avoid the situation with Johnny. Because why? Because she's also invested and she's bothered by her. Going into when Stacy meets Izzy's mom, I loved Izzy's mom. I thought she was so like genuine and sweet. I feel like she came with the perfect mom vibes, mom energies, because I feel like she voiced her opinion. She told Stacy, like, you know, I'm really wondering, is this the woman for my son? But then she kind of goes into saying, like, is he happy? That's what I care about. I care about my son being happy. Not only that, she mentions, like, I'm not only thinking about him in this situation, I'm also thinking about you in this situation. And I want nobody to be heartbroken here. I just feel like that Izzy's mom was so comforting. And I feel like a lot of us really need a mom like that. And I feel like you can truly see the comparison and the warmth in Izzy's mom compared to Stacy's family, where Stacy's family was just there to ask him how much money he has, how many times he's gonna take her to trips in the year, how many bags of luggage he's gonna be able to lug for Stacy with all the shoes. And Izzy's mom was asking like the true questions of, are you guys happy? Do you like this? Are you sure? Just honestly, the entire energy shift was completely different for me. Moving into Lydia meeting Milton's family. I know a lot of people had a lot to say about this online, but this is my take, okay? A lot of comments online said, oh, Milton's mom and sister were just so aggressive. And I'm like, I wouldn't call them aggressive per se, because were they ever loud? Were they yelling? Were they like over her? I don't think they were aggressive. I think they were suspicious and skeptical of her. Like, because every single camera pan to them, it was always them like side-eyeing her and just looking at her. It was always I think her name is Jessica. Entire episode, she's just like side-eyeing her. And I do agree with everybody being like, oh, it was intense. But how would you feel if your family member out of the nowhere was like, hey, I'm getting married, just met them, never saw them in person, proposed before we saw each other, and we're getting married in 4 weeks? Like, would you not be suspicious of if that happened in your family, especially because it's on TV? Like, everything on TV is just like, if you're on TV, like, you want the clout, you know? I gotta say, Lydia, you gotta be careful with just... My favorite part about this scene was when they're like interrogating Lydia on her own, like the mom and the sister, and she's like, do you have any questions for me, the mom? And then she goes, yes, how important is it that we, you know, when we have a family, we name our son, I think she said James the 5th. And it pans to like the mom and the sister, right? And the mom's like, she's so unamused that, like, I loved it, because she was just like, and I swear, like, Lydia really probably thought she was gonna get a good laugh from them and like, ha ha ha, that's so funny. No, the mom's like, I'm not having it. I don't care. Like, your sketch. And then the sister's like, wouldn't it be the 4th? And the mom's like, no, the 5th. And the sister's like, oh, okay. But regardless, like, she was going for laughs. She didn't get it. Like, this is not the audience she thought it would be. Moving into episode 9. I'm gonna be honest, this episode to me was kind of boring. I really did skip through a lot of the parts, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna review it, so I gotta go back and watch it. But it kind of starts off with Stacy talking about, oh, I don't want anything basic for my wedding. I want something that shines, or not shines, but like, I want something that stands out. And people are like, wow, didn't expect that. And then she proceeds to go and pick the absolute most basic bridal dress I've seen that dress a million times. So what do you mean you don't want it to be basic? Like, in my point of view, I feel like it's very hard to have like an extremely unique bridal thing, because your dress was basic. It was beautiful, don't get me wrong, it was beautiful, but it was very basic wedding attire. I'm sure I've seen it 30 million times. I hate to say it, I don't mean to talk back down on women, but Stacy girl, you are like the cookie cutter, basic, white, rich, entitled woman. Like, please. This is the next part that was really boring to me. Izzy takes Stacy on like a little private jet or something kind of date. And Izzy says, oh, she loves private jet rides. And I don't know. And I'm just like, don't we all? But like, it's just like the entitlement that just... I don't know why I'm so annoyed by Stacy. Just, she's so privileged, and she wants, I feel like she just looks down on everybody, and it just doesn't sit right with me. Do you guys think that Izzy even had the budget for that? That had to have been like a production thing where they're like, hey, let's do this for Stacy, and then we'll record it and make it seem like you did it. You know, I feel like all of those dates right before the wedding, like, they're planned, aren't they? We move into Milton and his sister having lunch. At this point, she's still extremely annoyed and just questioning him. Why are you doing this? Like, what is this for? This seems fake. And I get it. I have people like that in my mind, in my life, who are constantly being like, well, this and this and this and this and this and this. But Milton, I feel like he's determined to stay with Lydia, because at one point he says, you know, even if mom told me not to do this, I would still probably do it. So I feel like Milton is very level-headed to where he will sit there and listen to your opinion But he's going to do what he wants to do at the end of the day, which I really appreciate, because a lot of people can't sit there and have people telling them what they think and like disagree with it and just like have a civil conversation with it. So I think Milton honestly is one of the most emotionally mature people on this season, because everybody else, y'all need help. I get it. She's a sister. She's trying to look out for the brother. But again, Milton's going to do regardless what he wants with his own life. It's his battles and he's going to live it how he wants to. You shouldn't be dictating his life just because he's younger. Then we move into Stacy and Izzy. It looks like there was a big fight. Stacy is obviously annoyed and it has to do with Izzy's credit. So the way they're talking about this, like she's saying like, you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me that, you know, I asked about the credit cards and you just didn't give me the information and it's like shady and blah, blah, blah. And I agree with her on that, where it's like, I feel like that should have been disclosed. But they were making it seem like, and when they were going to say how much money it was, I was like, oh my God, it has to be over 50K for them to be making such a big deal. And then they're like, it was 3,500. And I'm like, what? That is nothing. That's nothing. But what does that say about Izzy that he couldn't just pay off 3,500? Like there's payment plans, there's like budgeting. Like how could you not pay off 3,500? I wish that's what I owed right now. What I did find weird is the fact that he said that to Johnny very early on in the dates. Like she knew his situation, but didn't say that to Stacy. And then I read somewhere, because I didn't remember seeing this on the episodes, but I read that apparently Stacy even said in the pods, like, oh, I don't want to discuss all that, like the financial stuff and whatever. Like, so Izzy basically was choosing her because, yeah, she's like the fun girl, the cool girl, I don't know what, but you're not at her level. And like Stacy is a rich white woman. Moving on to the Lydia and Milton date, where they're still discussing about the fight with Uche. And at one point, Lydia says, like, I'm proud of how I handled that fight. And when she said that, I was like, what do you mean? Like, you were cussing up and down. You were obviously heated. You were going back and forth. You were making a big, huge scene, which I have definitely done in the past. But I can tell you, I'm not proud of that. She's telling you she is proud of that. She's okay with handling that. I think it's hard for Milton to see why she reacts that way when he's so like in touch with his emotions and how he's able to sit and it looks like he's able to process them, and Lydia's not. Like she's gonna instantly just react to it. I do want to say, I mentioned I saw this from episode 1 in the pods. I was like, we need to take a shot every single time that Milton says like, because the amount of times he says like is insane. He goes like, well, I'm a geologist. Like I would like that, you know? Like, do you think that you would like that? Like, I was just like, Milton, stop with the likes. Then we go into Milton voicing how he feels, basically saying that he's feeling like he's not being heard by Lydia. What happens? It immediately pans to her with like this like dog face, for lack of better words. I just like look at her and like I feel like her eyes are black. I feel like she just like looks at you and tries to intimidate you and just like gives you this weird stare. Then Milton is basically like, whenever he says something, she's responding with a question. Like he said something about like how he doesn't like to fight, and then she's like, do you think I like to fight? Anytime he voices how he feels, she immediately just returns it with like a question, like, well, do you think I like this? Do you think this? You know, and it's just like very condescending, because it's like, just answer the question, okay? Answer the question. I do not agree with Milton making that statement. Where does being emotional get you? I didn't like that, because I'm like, look, not everybody can handle their emotions as well as Milton can. Everybody is different. Some people are way more emotional than others, and that's fine. Like, you're entitled to feel how you feel, but just don't talk down to each other. And I feel like this relationship is always going to be Milton telling him how he should feel, how he should act, because she's emotional. So take it like I should take it. What really rubs me the wrong way about Lydia is she like says her piece and then she leaves and starts crying as soon as Milton starts telling her. And it's like, You want to just say what you want to say, and you don't want to hear the other person out because they're not saying what you want to hear. I thought was super funny when like Lydia leaves, right? She's like over here crying, and then she's walking back to the table, and Milton's just like he's still eating like nothing. He's just like, I'm gonna eat my food regardless. That's pretty much it for the 2 episodes. I do want to go into my predictions, okay? Izzy and Stacy, are they gonna get married? No. I don't think they're gonna get married. I think Stacy will say no because she's just not gonna handle the financial situation. She knows Izzy is not where he needs to be, and she's not gonna accept that. And that's her right. If she wants to be with a rich man, then go be with a rich man, okay? Milton and Lydia, I feel like they are going to get married because, again, that comment that Milton said, like, I'm going to do what I want to do regardless, and I'm going to marry her, something along the lines. So I'm like, oh, he's made up his mind. Like, he's probably nervous and like worried about it, but I think he's going to say yes. Lydia, of course, she's going to say yes. I'm sorry, but like Lydia is giving off like desperate. I will marry anybody at this point. Nobody loves me because I'm so loud. I'm too much for them. She's going to take her husband where she can get a husband. And like I think the fact that Milton is 24 actually might even like work in her favor because she's going to be like, I can mold him into what I want him to be. He's still young. You're still, I feel like in your early 20s, like at 24, you're still figuring out who you are, and you're very easily like not manipulated, but like molded if you are around certain people. So I feel like that's what Lydia is gonna do. She's just gonna mold him into who she wants him to be. But yeah, lastly, I just want to say that Netflix is so horrible for dropping 2 and then making us wait a whole other week just for 1. So that's stupid. But that's pretty much the recap for the last 2 episodes. I probably will recap the next one just because I really want to watch the weddings. I'm so excited. And I was actually mad because I thought we were going to see the weddings today or yesterday, but I guess not. So if you're new to my channel, I do a lot of lifestyle and beauty, but I do want to add some reality reviews into my channel as well. So if you like that, make sure you subscribe, hit like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.